Oh, here we go.
Wrote Shakespeare's plays.
Yes.
The dumbest conspiracy to ever reach the general public. Because unfortunately, a lot of people have asked this question. This is William Shakespeare. Probably. We know him. We know him. He supposedly wrote the works of William Shakespeare.
Oh shit.
He was the son of a glover.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. In Stratford-upon-Avon, his dad made gloves.
Oh shit.
And do you know what that means?
No, what?
That he
It's never been touched.
was a poor bitch.
Okay.
And as we all know, poor people
Can't read.
can't read. Yes. So obviously, there's no way that he could have written those plays. This is something that Delia Bacon,
Oh.
300 years after he died, she discovered. She realized that poor bitch tricked all of us. All of us. We were fooled. Because the real person, the real man who wrote those works was Francis Bacon. No relation. Fun fact, he's this guy who was like scientific method. We love that guy.
Yeah.
We love him. He liked to do little ciphers. He liked to do little like mysteries or whatever. And so she was like, in every Shakespeare play, there are little clues left to tell us that it was Francis Bacon. Because he likes to do that.
Okay.
And she wrote a whole book about those clues. Okay. After writing that book, there were a few famous people to read it. And this is a huge factor as to why anybody else believes this. So we have Mark Twain,
Oh shit.
Helen Keller,
Oh my god.
Ralph Waldo Emerson, I almost forgot who he
Oh my
was,
god, I know him.
Malcolm X,
Oh.
Orson Welles,
Oh.
Charlie Chaplin. This was really disappointing. Oh yeah, by the way, it's all no way a poor person could have written these plays, which is crazy considering some of these people. Also, Sigmund Freud.
Whoa.
And the writer of My Sister's Keeper, Jodi Picoult. She actually just wrote a whole book where Shakespeare's works are written by somebody else. And she was peddling it as historical fiction based off of probably real events. You know, even though not a single one of these people is a historian. All of their beliefs come from Delia Bacon's book. However, people were like, you know what? We don't like Francis Bacon. He's really fallen out of favor as like the top candidate for who we think actually wrote Shakespeare's plays. So here are some other candidates that have been proposed as the true Shakespeare. We have, oh, she's coming. Oh, Christopher Marlowe, the spy. He did die 20 years before the final play was written. People think he may have faked his death, even though he very famously died in a public brawl where he got stabbed in the eye in a bar.
Didn't see that.
But well, neither did all the other people in that bar because obviously they got paid off, right? Obviously they got paid off and just made up some stuff. But you know, he's not the only candidate. The really popular one is Edward de Vere, the Earl of Oxford. People call him Oxford, even though his name is Edward de Vere. I think de Vere just doesn't work as nice. The reason I think it's like Christopher Marlowe is just because he wrote other plays. He wrote Faust, you know, everybody know Faust.
Okay.
Everybody know Faust.
Yeah.
He wrote other plays, and so everyone's like, you know what? He probably wrote Shakespeare too.
Totally different writing styles though.
Yeah, but you know what?
He's a spy.
Remember, guys,
Oh.
poor people can't read. So, and guess what? He went to college. Shakespeare just had like grammar school education. Probably. We'll get back to that. This guy, the Earl of Oxford, the reason people think that he wrote the plays, even though he also died 7 years before the final play was published, is because there's a bunch of moments in the play that if you work really hard, you can be like, well, this kind of parallels this moment in his life where he like went to Italy, you know? And this play takes place in Italy. So like, you know, and Shakespeare was poor. So he probably never went to Italy, and only somebody who goes there would know how to write about it, right? So they're like, oh, it has to be him. Fun fact, everybody who believes in this conspiracy, most of them, they think it's him. Anyway, sometimes we want to think that it's a woman, right? Because women couldn't publish, you know?
Yeah.
Like women, you know, they were being oppressed. So of course, a woman might, you know, go under a pseudonym or whatever. So a very popular one, especially in like the Jodi Picoult world, and I'll get back to why in a second. But a very popular suggestion is Amelia Bassano or Lanier. She's also sometimes referred to as the Dark Lady because in Shakespeare's sonnets, he's like writing about this like beautiful, sexy woman or whatever that we all refer to as the Dark Lady. And she has often been proposed. Before being proposed as actual Shakespeare, she was proposed as that Dark Lady. But you know, of course, she's probably writing about herself. Even though she is the first professional female poet in England and was getting published on her own. She did not need a pseudonym, but she may have had one just for fun. Another candidate is Queen Elizabeth II.
Oh, wow.
I mean, Queen Elizabeth I. I don't know why it says second there. Queen Elizabeth I, who not only died before half the plays were written, but was in fact the literal queen. Of course, the queen, she had to hide it. She couldn't publicly be writing all these plays that poor people liked. These are just a few candidates. There's over 80 that have been suggested. These are some of the more popular ones. Not really Queen Elizabeth, I just think it's funny that they like to suggest her. But these ones are very popular, along with Francis Bacon. However, you might be thinking, don't all of these sound like an insane conspiracy theory, don't they? Yes.
Yes.
That's because they are. A big part of the conspiracy is that they're like, oh, there's no way that he could have known about how nobility works, you know, because there's no books about it. And even if there were, poor people can't read. But not only do breaking news, some poor people know how to read.
What shit?
I know, sorry. But also, playwriting in Elizabethan England was collaborative. So even if he didn't know how to read, he had all of these friends, they had rich friends, it doesn't matter. The conspiracy relies on misinformation, okay? That's information that isn't true.
Oh my god.
This book right here, Shakespeare is a Woman and Other Heresies by someone, Elizabeth Winkler. She published this book, I think in 2023, it was a few years ago. Someone can fact check me. Don't do that. No, she wouldn't want you to either. Anyway. She wrote this book because she had written this article being like, I heard about this conspiracy, isn't this interesting, right? And a lot of people were like, girl, that's a conspiracy. That's a conspiracy theory that has been disproven many times. For example, by this book, Contested Will by James Shapiro. And James Shapiro himself was like, girl, normally I like your stuff because I think you're like a good journalist, but you're wrong. And you probably should talk to some people who know what the hell they're talking about. And she said, oh, fuck that. That is not happening. She was like, you know what? Everybody gets mad at me.
I must be right.
I must be right. So she wrote this book after talking to only people who believe in the conspiracy.
One side to every story, they say.
Exactly. There's one side to every story, and she knew the right one. And in this book, she actually wrote about stuff that's in Contested Will that was not true. If you read these books side by side, you will see that she says, James Shapiro said this thing, and he did not.
Oh my god.
Because guess what?
She's a liar.
She's a liar! And it's crazy! It is so crazy to the, just like for a moment, it is so crazy to the degree that she is lying in the book for no reason. She just is making up stuff that you can go check. But she says at the beginning of the book, don't bother checking.
Oh my god.
But why does James Shapiro and the overwhelming majority of English scholars believe that William Shakespeare, this man from Stratford-upon-Avon, this random town in England, why do they believe that he wrote them? Could it be because they were published under his name? Maybe.
Occam's razor.
Who knows? They spent like years and years collecting his work
To see what's
in
on
order to publish it. And they were in it. They were fellow playwrights. They knew him. It would be insane. It would be so insane for them to just be like, okay, this random guy we knew. Let's just say he wrote all these. Let's just say he did. Why not? Who's gonna stop us? Also, fun fact: these are actually I showed you at the beginning that picture of Shakespeare. We don't actually know for sure if that was him. This one we know for sure is a picture of Shakespeare, and it's the only picture that is like undeniably 100% of William Shakespeare. Ooh. This man we also know is 100% William Shakespeare. It's the funeral bust.
Oh, I was gonna say, is that like not the death mask?
It's a funeral monument. Yeah. I should have had a slide for this one. But another aspect of this whole thing is that they believe his daughters didn't know how to read. The reason they think that his daughters didn't know how to read is because we don't have any of their writing. We also don't have any of the other commoners writing from this day. Fun fact, his daughters were not even playwrights. They were just people, you know? But the fact that we don't have their writing, to them, is evidence that they don't know how to read, even though we do have one of their signatures.
Yeah.
But whatever. And because they don't know how to read, he must not have taught them, therefore he must not know how to read. That's the conspiracy that we're working with, guys. All of it is insane, it's stupid, and you're stupid if you believe it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
The reason why people get so angry about it is because it's so common to just talk about this as if it's even mildly legitimate of a theory, and it's not. It's like one of those things that's like, wow, this could be a fun thought experiment, but we took it way too far. All that being said, there is one single candidate. One candidate that I'm like, there is a certain amount of credence to this person. This is Doña L. Gherkin, inventrix of the gherkin, and Queen Elizabeth I's secret Jewish physician, alongside Rodrigo Lopez. That's Rodrigo Lopez. And that's Doña L. Another picture of Doña L is this one right here.
Who's that?
Okay, but like,
Jewish. So, fun fact, this guy was in fact
who is that?
He is indeed the secret Jewish physician of Elizabeth I
just don't.
Yeah, you get it? Okay, yeah. That's my presentation.